rather than just jumping straight in and getting smacked on. Like I'll have a chance if I just magically decide I'll do good. It's not that easy. I'm the only person that when they're like drifting off randomly sometimes, they don't really have thoughts about people, places, and things, but they'll have like thoughts about a character in a game or something, like, or a character in a book or a show. Like, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm just daydreaming random situations, like at work or walking, etc., etc. Sometimes I'll daydream about like random shit that has nothing to do with my life. Like lately, I've been having a lot of random daydreams about Metal Gear and Jet Set Radio. Love those games. Okay, the muscle memory's kind of back. I'm glad I'm doing this, because I didn't remember a lot of this. I haven't even seen this game in front of my face in like a week. Yeah. Oop, missed. That little jump punch looked funny for a second. Yeah, like I said though, just for now, I'm just gonna run through this. I'm supposed to be talking a little bit more about the game, but I've realized going through my move list right now, I forgot just a little bit, and I feel like I gotta get a little bit of the taste for the action before I go explaining stuff again. Because it's not like it's anything that I don't specifically know, it's just that I want to be sure I'm telling you exactly how it is rather than how I remember it. But what I can say for right now though, is you can have the game set for additional buttons, but essentially it's a 4-button game. You have a punch button, which is Y on the Xbox. It's triangle on the PlayStation. You have a kick, which would be B on a Xbox, or circle on a PlayStation, and that's your punching kick. With these punching kicks, you'll have a section of different direction moves, because a 3D, you have to remember, a 3D fighter, you're not only moving left and right and like jumping like back and jumping forward like Street Fighter, you're also moving like, you know, into the background, essentially left and right. Your character has a left and right now, and you can either walk or you can sidestep. And that's important because sidestepping is the equivalent to dashing forward or dashing back, just for going into the foreground and the background. That's the easiest way to think about it. But since you can go and use these directions, also you can use up, back, and, you know, in the combination of the diagonals. You also have sections of attacks with the corresponding punches, kicks. You also will have to do at one point punching kick together, and then you have a holding kick together. I'll get to what the hold button is next. But for each of these inputs, punch, kick, holding kick, or HK, PK, P, and K, what you're going to have is a different direction of moves, which is what I've been going through if you've been paying attention or looking at that at all. You'll start off with just, you know, all punches. Then those punches will start showing you different things. Note that every one of these they all start off with their own root. And what I mean by a root is these first 3 moves that you see on the left side right here on the move list, they all start off with punch, punch, punch. Punch, punch, punch is the root of the combo string essentially. So you have punch, 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 punch. You know, so you punch, 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 kick, punch, and then you have punch, 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 kick, kick, and they do completely different things. So it's really, it seems like a lot at first, because you know sometimes people will pick up these games and they're like, holy shit, you know, maybe they're used to 2D fighters a little bit more, and they're not used to a game that's just based off of combo strings. Whereas in a fighting game like a 2D, usually you have to do combo links and, you know, jump ins and all this other stuff. But in these games, you tend to have long combo strings, and these are what combo strings are. But essentially, people will look at this and they'll like look at through their moves, and they're trying to look for something cool, because you know they're used to something like Street Fighter. And I've seen my friends countless of days, especially back in the day on tech, and they'll open up the move list and they'll go through the moves, and they're looking for something cool to do. And, like, that's all they want to do, just one of their cool moves, because like, you know, when you get on a fighting game, you want to make your character look cool, you want to do cool stuff, and you want to feel like a badass. But you know, that's not always the case with these games, because the move lists they just seem so vast. But to be honest with you, there's probably about, I don't know, I'd probably say a good 20 sections of different things you're going to be doing, and interwoven into those different sections are also the finishers and not the roots, like punch, punch, punch. You see how I have punch, 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 kick, kick? Well, I can also do I believe, I'm not sure. Damn, see, this is what I'm talking about. This is the reason I'm glad I'm running through this again. Oh yeah, I can also just do a back kick, kick, which will give me the same ender as punch, 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 kick, kick. So the reason why that's important, and to understand the difference between these different roots and these enders, is because you'll realize going through the move list, it's really actually not that bad doing this and going through the move list, because you'll realize there's a punch, punch, punch section, and you'll realize there's a punch, punch section, and a punch, punch forward section, etc., etc., etc. So it's like that with every move, and as you're going through them, you're gonna notice you're gonna start doing forward punch stuff, and you're gonna start doing down forward punch stuff. You see how it's popping up with a little section for each direction? You're gonna have a down forward, down back, and you have a back, and then you have a up back, maybe a up forward. So essentially, you have to think of it as all directions: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you're looking down at the bottom as I'm pressing it, not necessarily the character. But you have this game has 8-way inputs. So every section is 8-way inputs. Everything has roots. Remember what roots are. They're the starting strings. They're the start of the strings of the combos you're going to be doing, which would be something like punch, punch, punch. And it's only a root if you can do something else to end it. Punch, 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 kick, kick, or punch, 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 kick, punch. See, kick, punch, and kick, kick, they're enders. That's another way to think about them, or they're the end of the combo string. Don't necessarily get used to calling them enders, because nobody necessarily calls them enders at all. But that's just a way to familiarize yourself with the concept of what these things might be if you're new to it. But so like I said, you have these sections, and you'll start going into the different directions and what they do for your character. Some of them might be evasive moves, some of them might be dodging moves, some of them might be moves that are like really fast, some of them might be really slow moves, like something like this. But everything has its unique usage, and the only thing other than that to cover is the other two buttons, and then the different properties of moves you're going to be getting. And then I'm going to finish this move list up and try to get some online matches going. I might play the computer first a couple of times. But the next two buttons are your hold button and your throw button. The reason why it's H and T. So hold is essentially block. Now, a lot of people usually, when they're familiar with other fighting games, they're used to blocking back. They're used to holding back or holding down back. That's okay and that's fine. You can do that in this game, but it's a lot more convenient for you to just use the hold button because of the parry system, or the counter system, excuse me, which I'll get into a little bit later. That's gonna go with the game. It'll pop up in its own section. But holding, other than, oh no, I got a text message. Just Set Radio. I love my new phone backgrounds. Excuse me for 1 second. I just realized the music went off. Oh yeah, my friend was in a car accident recently. Her and her girlfriend. My sincerest feelings go out to them. Hope you guys are gonna recover pretty soon. Everything's fine. Stuff like that. Boop, 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 boop. Okay. Excuse me for that. But essentially, your hold button, it allows you to block and hold still at the same time. And um other than being use, because you can't just, you know, hold back or do down forward like really quick. You actually have to do this to do counters. So it's just really convenient to just hold block, you know, and just, you know, be able to, you know, do one of these at the same time whenever you need it. You know, it's just like your hand's already on the button. It doesn't, it's as simple as, you know, blocking a high and seeing a low coming and being like high, high, low, and then you stop it. You know, versus doing this and shuffling backwards, and, you know, just, you have to actually actively, you know, crouch down, which with a little bit of practice, holding down, going from down back to down, you know, like it's really not that hard. But, you know, just the convenience of having one button to press, and then you either just press it or press down. It's just really convenient. One advantage that you do have from backing up and blocking like this is that when you're at a certain range, you can kind of use, because if you're let's say you knock your opponent on the ground with a move or something. Oops, my bad. And you're like right about here. See, they can throw a few things out if they dash at you to get you, or they can run in and, you know, just cover some space really fast to get you. But essentially, you know, if you think they're gonna get up and they're too scared and they're gonna start striking as soon as they get up, notice how I did that three combination, and the only attack that landed was the third. And that's because I'm too far away. But if your opponent's trying to attack and you're backing up like this, or possibly they throw all highs and you're still backing up like this, and you go under that, they're sitting there with all that recovery, and you have all that time to punish them and get a free combo off. It's just free damage. It's good for you. Think of it like points. And that's a huge point moment. That's like playing basketball and a three is there. Like, it's just a free three. You're good, and it's just all net. Next is your hold button. I mean your throw button. Now, your throw button is just as it indicates it's your throws. You're gonna notice in this game, though, a lot of characters have combo throws, where they'll have to press another button in a sequence, or you know, a combination in the sequence. Some are a lot harder than others. And basically, how these work, just like getting out of holds, when you see the words pop up on the screen, that's when you have to press the throw button. So if you're going against a grapple character and they grapple you on the ground, you're most likely gonna have to you're gonna be in a moment where they're gonna grab you, and you're gonna see a green message pop up, and it's gonna say combo throw or counter throw, etc., whatever it's gonna say, and it's gonna indicate you're being thrown, or a next sequence of the throws coming up, and you have to usually press A to get out of it. But for single animation throws like this right here, there's no combo. Like, this is a combo throw. That's a I guess you could call that a double animation. What? I don't know. Whatever. Let's not even try to give it any fancy names. I don't want to confuse anybody. But basically, you have grab sequences and they're combo throws. Some characters have special inputs, and there are combinations you can grab. I'm doing a grab right now, and these two are meant specifically for people who are crouching. You're gonna see that in a little bit too. But other than that, those are your 4 buttons. You got your punch, your kick, your block, which is hold, which also can give you counters, and your throw button. Throws are pretty standard for the most part, but I mean, you can basically experiment. Like, you can run up on somebody and do a grab and expect to get a different throw, or, you know, just press up throw maybe, or, you know, dash throw. You know, you can get a bunch of different stuff. Back throw. Your opponent's turned around, but you can play with it essentially. But you do want to learn your character specific grabs, because some of them have combo throws that are very specific that you can't really guess. But like I said, those are the 4 buttons. Now let's talk about move properties, which is the next thing that's very important in any fighting game, and the things you should always be honestly paying attention to, because they are the key to playing any fighting game whatsoever. It doesn't matter what game it is, whether it's 2D, whether it's 3D. It doesn't matter if it's an arena fighter. It doesn't matter if it's a a platform fighter, a brawl fighter, anything. If it's a fighting game and it has some type of versus mechanics to it, then guarantee you it's gonna have these couple of things in them. And we're talking about more so traditional fighting games here. And without getting too technical, I'll actually just go over the easier ones because I was gonna go into frames, but I don't really talk about that. You have these kinds of moves. You have just regular punches. You can call those strikes, right? They just hit the opponent, whatever. Then you have these strikes that, wait a minute, they hit them a little bit harder. In this game, they're called critical hits. For your opponent, it's a critical stun. Being in a critical stun in DOA is very important. And I'm going to explain that why, because that has everything to do with the combo system, excuse me. I said condo. I wish I lived in a condo. It would be kind of nice, I guess. Psych. I want a mansion, bro. Okay, let me see. Where should I start with that? So like I said, you have your strikes, and then you have moves that do critical stun. Now, well, a critical hit essentially that cause critical stun. Now, after that, you have what's called a power blow, or a critical burst, and a power blow move. Now, those are two also important, but that's at the end of essentially of the whole concept that's about to occur here. So, when you're comboing somebody, you're gonna notice, okay, he just hit punch 3 times, but what the hell, like, it only hit twice. The reason why is because not all things combo. In between certain combos, like basically if your opponent doesn't do anything to stop you, they're gonna get hit by all that. So it does combo. But what's going on here is that third punch, if I hit you with this first punch, I'm guaranteed the second one. Bang bang, like you're getting hit. But that third one, if you're used to seeing Kasumi punch, and you know that the third one's going to, you see it and you know it's gonna be punch punch punch, or you're gonna know it's gonna be punch punch forward punch, which have the same it's going high high mid. Your opponent can react to it because it doesn't combo. So for that split second, they can do this and just counter and completely get out of the combo and catch you. You'll take damage, etc., etc. And that's important because this is where the triangle of the game starts to kind of like come into play. And how that comes into play is you have your strikes, your throws, and you have your counters. Obviously blocking is in there, obviously evasive stuff is mock block in there, but that's all movement. I consider that movement oriented things. Specifically countering, throwing, and the strikes, think about punches and strikes. Imagine that they weren't yellow and red, and imagine they were like just, I don't know, purple or something, right? Imagine them as they count as their own kind of section, right? Then you move on to throws. Throws can beat certain strikes, but for the most part, certain strikes will stop a throw in certain situations. Like you can't throw from back here and somebody just pop you in the face. But there'll be times where people that do strikes and you can just grab them, like and just completely stop them and get what's called a counter throw or a high counter throw, I believe. Then other than that, the only thing that's gonna beat your strikes, the only thing that's gonna beat your strikes other than counter throws are gonna be your counters. And essentially, what's gonna happen is this is the defensive result of getting around your opponent's offensive pressure. And like I said, when they're comboing you, not everything combos. Now you might be wondering, well, if they can just get out of my stuff, then what's the point of even trying to play or do combos when all it takes is somebody to just go through the moves just a couple times, get used to my character, and know what I'm going to throw out or guess what I'm going to throw out and stop me every time. Now here's the thing, they can stop you a good amount of the time, but remember critical stun? That's where that's about to come into play. Now if you get far enough into a combo, or you use the right attack like that, note how this one's really short, but this one's really long. See, while they're in critical stun, this stops their movement. They no longer are allowed to move. They can't do any of this, etc., etc., etc. They can't block anymore. That's no longer an option unless you take too long to hit them. Which, see, that was 2 hits instead of 3 hits. That kick's funny. But it was 2 hits instead of 3 hits, which indicates that I took too long. So they could have parried me then. But essentially the only thing they can do is counter when they're in critical stun like that. So at that point, that becomes their only option. But here's where you can get them. Now, if they're expecting to counter you again, and they throw out a counter, next thing you know, you hit them again, they're in the same combo, and now they're taking more damage because they're being countered via getting caught trying to parry. Essentially, it's dangerous to do that because you take more damage. So the basically the way it works, because there's gonna be times where you play against people who they're gonna be getting your counters, or like they're gonna be guessing your strikes a lot, and they're gonna be throwing you every time you run in with a certain attack. They're just gonna throw you. You're gonna be like, holy shit! And the only way that you can really counter that is to make yourself a little bit more, mysterious with your strikes. Eventually, you'll approach them in a certain way, and they'll think you're gonna attack, and you don't attack, and they're just like, ha, and you're like, nope, and bam, then they take more damage. So that's how that trade-off works. So when you get somebody in a combo and they're taking critical stun, you're gonna get their life bar down to a short point where you're gonna see a silver bar. That's not indicated right now because I'm in the command training, but essentially you're gonna get your opponent to a point where it says critical stun. Now that's where the critical blow and the power blow come into play. Now the reason why those are important, here's the flashy part of the game. Everybody loves this with every single character. It's amazing every time in a match. And here's the thing, it really doesn't happen as common as you think it would. So it's awesome when it actually does happen. So I do forward punch as my starter. I'll do forward kick as my follow up. Forgot to dash. I'm gonna do forward punch after that, and then I'm gonna do the critical blow, which is forward punching kick. Oops, I think I did that wrong. Hold on. There we go. Now that was a critical burst. Now notice how the critical stun turned red. After a while of comboing, to prevent infinites, critical stun is into place, and the meter starts to build up, and basically as soon as, just like similar to KI or Street Fighter or Tekken, when you can't juggle anybody anymore, or they fall to the ground really fast, or you hit them hard enough to the point in Street Fighter where they spin and you can't touch them anymore until they hit the floor. You'll have it's called a blowout in most games, and essentially what that means is it's the system stopping you from not only continuing your combo too long to get off an unfair amount of damage on your opponent, but it's also the point in which the combo is about to end. So essentially, no matter what you do in that situation, your opponent's either gonna get knocked down, they're gonna get launched into the air, or they're gonna recover in some sort of way. So if I hit him with a punch, they just fall down. Do the same thing and hit him with a kick. Oops, hold on. Oops. Dropping stuff on stream. See, they fall. Now, how you can take advantage of that, there's certain moves called launchers in fighting games. And here's the next part. Now, these are important in 3D fighters, more so than some 2D fighters. But you want to have moves that launch your opponent off the ground, right? Now, the reason why launchers are important is because launchers allow you, in most 3D fighting games, to follow up with an air combo. And in certain situations, it could just be for position advantage. And other times, it could just be for straight up freaking damage. So, it's really beneficial. Hit somebody with the juggle. Next thing you know, they're in the air. It's just like, oh crap, what are they gonna do? And your opponent just has to sit there and watch it. They're kind of like, what is he gonna hit you with now? And they just have to eat all that damage, because by that point, they're free. Now, the reason why that's more of a meta game, and the reason I'm talking about it the way I am, is because remember how I said before you can do the holds? Pretty much every critical burst in this game can be countered with the back hold. but there are going to be a few that have to be countered with a forward hold. But for the most part, you don't have to guess at all. It's literally just going to, for the most of the cast, it's going to be back, and only in a few specific situations, like Ayane's kick, she has a critical burst where she can kick, and it's you have to counter it with a forward, because mid punches like this are countered with back, and mid kicks like this are countered with forward. So that's the only reason why. Most critical bursts in this game, though, they're all mids, so you can just go like this anytime you think you're gonna see one. So for example, if you're the person who's getting hit right now, as soon as you see those red letters pop up, your instinct is most likely going to be, if you're not remaining calm enough, to be, oh, I might want to just throw that medium, because if I don't throw that medium and he just, you know, he throws out his, you know, his critical burst, now I'm going to be sitting there for an even longer combo. So you just have to eat all that damage at that point. Who wants to eat all that damage? You know what I mean? So, where the meta game comes in is where people might try to counter you. You can do a little trick like this. Wait a second, they'll counter, and the game still allows that that stun to continue. Unlike now, where it just will reset the combo, and you could hit them again, right? Like, they'll do a parry, and you'll hit them again, and it'll still work. And next thing you know, you got a combo off. Now, here's the end cap of it, the power blow. Power blow is really important because it gets you a shit ton of damage. If you have environmentals around, you can control the direction it goes in, and you can knock your opponent into the environmentals. Now, I don't think it's gonna actually let me show you here, so I'm actually just gonna quit out of this. I think I've went through the command list enough to know, or remember her moves at least vaguely enough to play, but I do want to show that off just really quick. I'll play against the computer really fast, why not? Do a quick arcade run or something, survival, solo. I'll go on champ. I'm not gonna sit here and act like I'm great at the game. I'll go through with Kasumi again, just for the familiarity. Give her a different outfit. I like the customization in DOA. It's pretty cool. I'm not really a fan of, you know, over-sexualized characters. Not gonna lie, it's awesome as a guy. Like, I can totally sit back and appreciate me and my buds, but you know, sometimes it distracts you from the game, and like you kind of lose the purpose of you being there. So it's just, I don't know. I think it's a little bit too distracting. I think the company should probably pay attention more to the game and what it's about, rather than selling us $200 something worth of rest. Okay, we're gonna go for that same combo again. Hold on, he's gonna get ripped. I forgot I'm on survival mode. Okay, he hit a wall. Oh god. I just wanted to show this also. If anything, I should let my health get low, but I just realized I'm in survival, so. Alright, well anyway, let's go over the combo, the critical stun like I was talking about before, on the opponent, a live opponent. So you see the bar going down, you see that little silver line, you saw how it got really, really skinny, and next thing you know, that's when the letters turn red. That's your indication that your combo is getting to that point where it's too long. Now, bigger hits take away more of the life bar, right? So think about it this way: the bigger or the more rewarding hits, so to speak, in terms of damage and stuff like that, they're gonna knock that meter down the fastest. So what you most likely want to do in most situations is use smaller hits. See what I'm saying? So I'm gonna demonstrate that again really quick as soon as I kill Rachel. I actually really like Rachel. She's a great character. Jan Lee, good starting character. One thing I've been suggested once before, and will suggest to you now: pick ninja characters. Pick at least one ninja character to learn, and you'll be fine. You'll do well. You'll do well for the starting portion of the game. This is essentially the Ryu factor, or the Street Fighter Shoto factor. But anyway. Now see, that would have been a power blow, but my health's not low enough. You see how his gauge is red, or you see how my gauge is red now? That's how you know you have a power blow active. And it's basically like, I don't know, a lot of fighting games today are going for like a kind of a rewarding rage mode system that, you know, rewards you for getting, I guess, you know, doing, I guess, it's basically a comeback factor. I guess, you know, X factor to the game, essentially. But, in this game, it's the power blow. And, ooh, well, I just do it this way. Anyway, you can combo the power blow for free after pretty much any critical burst, like ever. And that's the reason why I say that the power blow is the end game or the end cap or whatever you want to call it to the whole combo process. Because if you can land one of the power blows, aim it wherever you want, and if you have an environmental, then they're going to take extra damage, and certain environments do certain damage. I believe like electricity does like, I believe, a 25 extra damage or something like that. And holy crap, I think she has a costume I don't have. I'm not sure, I think I have it. Whatever. Trying to beat the computer. Boss mode. You got real. Woo! We made it. Alright. But, yeah, essentially, like I said, you got a punch button, a kick button, you got your hold button. I can demonstrate some blocking real quick. You know, you can block highs, obviously. If you try to block a mid while you're blocking low, just like you saw he did that shoulder, you'll get hit because mids will actually still hit you, just like if you're standing, a low will hit you. If you're crouching, though, highs will miss. And, that's pretty much everything that's important that has anything to do with basics of the game itself. Picking up a character, completely different process. Learning combos, kind of walks you through it, kind of a different process, or a more in-depth process once you start learning different stuff. But it really all depends on what character you play, and depending on the way you're going to play the game is all dependent on two things: one, your personality and the way you play the game, and then two, essentially the character that you style that you pick. Some characters do certain things. Some characters are meant to stay in your face. Some characters are meant to be a little bit more you know, hermit style. They're meant to stay to themselves. Then you have other characters who are you know, like grapple characters, and they're meant to, like, you know, beat the shit out of you and do massive damage, but they're like usually slower, etc., etc. So you have to adapt to the hurdles your character has to, but for most of the part, it's just, you know, it's like that with any fighting game. You know, you learn what you can do, and then you adapt to it, and you get it going. I'm not sure what I want to do next. I guess I might as well just try to go online.